Alrighty, everybody. Welcome on in. We're going to be doing a little bit of some Simon's Quest today. My name is Dan Carnett, and I am here with the glorious Two Snick.
Wow, glorious.
Glorious. It was the first word that came to mind, so we'll first word appropriate.
Okay, at least it was like vaguely positive, so that's good.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, well, thanks for letting me hang out with you today. I'm really excited for this run.
Yeah, I'm excited for you telling people all the things that I'm doing wrong. So we'll be getting started here. We'll be doing the 80% glitchless run. So we'll be starting as soon as we gain control here. Time will start.
So right away, Dan's going to do a grind that's pretty tough to do, and I'll go ahead and pledge $5 if Dan is able to complete the lizard grind, which is get 13 hearts from these lizards in the first minute or so. And if he doesn't, then it's going to get a little crazy.
Yeah. So what we're trying to get is 13 drops. So you could be counting. I'm not, but we'll find out soon. It's not looking
I'm not hearing the heart pickup sound that often.
I am not hearing any.
Oh, there's one.
Oh, good. Oh, this is good.
It's fine. Dan and I actually worked on some contingencies on Friday, so I think we're going to be fine. And actually, that's what makes this game so hard to speedrun, and what makes it a spicy run for marathons is because if you've ever played Castlevania 2 before, the way it works is like it's kind of like an adventure game where you run around and you collect experience and hearts, which you use as currency, which is kind of weird. Don't think about it too much. And you go to the town, and you go to the towns and you buy stuff from people. The problem is that these people, they go to sleep at night, and the entire game is on a global 3 minutes daytime, 3 minutes nighttime cycle. So if we miss the day cycle here, then except the first one's only 90 seconds. If we miss this, then we're going to be grinding for another 3 minutes at night.
Yeah, so we got 9 drops, which is absolutely terrible. So we are going to...
Are you going to go for the Thorn Whip?
I don't know. Maybe we make the other people decide. Have chat decide. We do Thorn, trash can %. Yeah, probably. I think Thorn. Which did we come out and say was be a better one? Because I think if we did Thorn, didn't I end up having to wait at Morningstar anyways? So was it better to just go to chain like usual?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think we had to, and I also remember the leveling was kind of hard.
Yeah. So this grind here is essentially what you would do if you're doing like the damageless category, and you'd be hanging around Jova a little bit longer. But this is kind of really the only option that we have right now because the drops that we got were they were not favorable. And I forgot where this setup is because usually
my visual is the outside. There it is, the outside of the 2 windows. Perfect. This is beautiful.
So we're going to be doing a grinding here, just because there's nothing else to do until it's daytime, so we can buy the holy water.
This is a spot that you don't really keep in your like muscle memory because this is something that really only happens in marathons. You don't if you miss the Lizard Man grind at the very beginning where you need the 13 hearts, you just smash the reset button and keep going.
Yeah. and quite honestly, we probably could have tried it 2 or 3 more times and still save time overall if we got it. Just due to how these day-night cycles happen, but apparently that's really Simon's curse is in marathons to be on your toes.
Yeah, I think this is going to end up missing 13 hearts at the beginning. I think costs about 6 minutes at the end of the day because you have to wait 2 extra cycles. How long have you been playing Castlevania 2, Dan? I remember you picked it up pretty recently, I believe, and I think you learned it very quickly.
I don't remember. I probably a total of like maybe 2 full months of attempts, maybe. I was lucky, and I was talking about this a little bit in my Discord earlier today about just how the Castlevania community overall is like one of the best communities for like not only like having information available like guides, tutorials, and junk like that, but also offering just offering advice and stuff. Like for me, I was always afraid to like start on this run just because I didn't know, a lot of more of the intricacies of doing like the glitchless stuff. And Sathras, he took a time out of his stream and basically did a whole run and was showing me every single thing because he's the he's the Jehovah's Witness of Castlevania 2, and he's sooner or later gonna be at your door, and he's gonna be saying, "Hey, have you heard about our speed games, Castlevania 2?"
True. But this isn't your first venture into Castlevania speedrunning, is it?
It is not. My first Castlevania speedrun was Castlevania Dracula X, and I put a little time into that. That's probably my most grinded speed game of any games that I've done, and not without its cost. my soul.
When I first started speedrunning and playing Castlevania, I remember you and Luca Gem, who's going to be coming up in a couple of runs from now. So be sure to stay tuned for Smash TV, I believe. You guys were like the kings of Castlevania X. I think passing the record back and forth a few times, or
yeah, we did. We did pass it back and forth, and we ended up we both quit the game on a tie.
Really?
Yeah, so we're both tied for third place right now.
That's epic. Is it Croonin and Wolf that are the other two?
Yeah.
Or, okay, cool. Yeah, you guys did commentary for GDQ's Dracula X race last week, I believe.
Yeah.
Or was it Ben Carnate?
Oh yeah, it was Ben Carnate. He's the superior Carnate. Did I even get
Carnate's evil twin brother?
So we're gonna do another grind here. When day hit or night hits, just to get on the cycle that we would be on usually in the run. It's not an ideal situation because as we said, but it just makes sense. And there's probably no way I could get 26 hearts in the amount of time that I kind of had left here. What time is it? 12:31. Should be ticking pretty soon.
So I kind of like this. So you're actually going to reset it back to normal. So this is only going to cost you 3 minutes then. It won't be 6. That's my mistake.
Well, isn't it 3 for the night? And I guess not. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess it's kind of different.
Yeah, it's got 6. I was thinking about this. I was like, this way you can see what the run was supposed to be like in the event that the Lizard Man grind did go well. So if we have any donations, now would be a great time. But yeah, so some different things. I guess we can explain a little bit of what makes this any percent versus any percent glitchless, which is what we're doing. So there's several different like wrong warps that you can do in this game. There's also some tech where if you look at how Simon jumps, that's about how high he jumps. But if you jump and whip at the same time, you'll notice that he gains a lot of height. And that height can actually be used to get up to places that the developers didn't really intend to. And the any percent route, which I personally have not run, but Two Snake is definitely familiar with it, involves doing that into an enemy to boost you up to a higher block, even more so, getting, was it 4 block height?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then that allowing you to do a wrong warp and continue. It beat the game even that much quicker. So,
yeah, the 80% run for this is pretty spicy. I definitely recommend it. We're playing glitchless today. I think glitchless is the most accessible category for sure. The problem with Castlevania 2 speedrunning is that Lizardman grind at the beginning does seem to turn a lot of people off. You don't need to do that. You can do like easier grind methods, but that is really the hardest trick in the game is learning that Lizardman grind. So the difference that Dan's going to be doing in this run versus a normal any percent run is, as Dan kind of alluded to earlier, in any percent, you take a wrong warp about 2/3 or maybe a little over halfway through the game, and you kind of wrap around the world and skip from the third to the last mansion. Instead of having to go 3, 4, 5, you get to go 3, 5, 4, and then to Dracula's mansion, and that saves quite a bit of time, about 2 minutes. The trade-off is that in any percent, you're stuck using the chain whip. In this game, there are 5 whips. You start with the leather whip, which is what he's using now. The thorn whip that we were talking about earlier is for selling the first town for 100 hearts. And then in this town, which is called Veros, there's a vendor that sells the chain whip. And the chain whip is pretty strong. The chain whip costs 150 hearts, and that's what Dan's grinding here for now. After Dan finishes this grind, he's going to be looking to have about 200 or more hearts at about the 3/4 into the game mark, so that he can buy the 4th whip upgrade, which is called the Morning Star. And if you visit an NPC towards the end of the game with the Morning Star equipped, then you can get what's called the Flame Whip, which is kind of a silly weapon, especially since you can kill flame men with it, but is the most powerful whip in the game. But Dan's going to go the Flame Whip route, which is going to be really great because the Flame Whip looks awesome. But when you play any percent, you skip the Morning Star and the Flame Whip, and you have to use the Chain Whip for the entire run. Man, you're getting a lot of hearts here, aren't you?
Dude, I think you gave me I think I got that opposite ROM of the one with the 100% drop rate.
Yeah. Luckily for Dan, he doesn't really need a lot of hearts here, but he does need hearts to drop so that he can continue to level up.
I'll just stop now.
Can you go to the menu real quick? What's the time at?
3:24.
So if you kept farming a little bit more, you could try to get level 2, though. I think you're getting experience here for level 2.
Yeah, but then if I get level 2 earlier, then this way I can take some damage boosts and then get the refill on it too.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, okay. I'm picking up what you're putting down here.
Nice little glitch here. You can throw holy waters into this house. They don't care.
What? I was told this would be glitchless.
Oh crap!
Reset.
Damn it, Dave. I gotta reset. Yeah, the 256 heart dream. Yeah, if that were to only ever happen in an actual run.
At least you don't have to worry about getting the 200 for the Morning Star, most likely.
Most likely. I swear to God, if we are short, there.
You know how this game is sometimes.
I do. So usually we are doing this right at about 4:24 or 5:24. So it definitely costs us about 6 minutes, but we're back on the same cycle as as like what we would be doing. So you'll be able to see what the rest of the run, ideally, assuming I don't mess up too crazily, get to see how the rest of it is played in this category without Band-Aid percent.
The most fun that I have with this run is just kind of the overworld combat. I feel like Simon in this game just feels really good to play with. His whip attack animation is a smooth 20 frames, which, you know, like for example, in Castlevania 3, Trevor's whip I think is 24 frames, and that kind of just feels pretty sluggish and slow. You can whip with a good rhythm in this, and like the way the game's designed, that kind of lets you move through screens and whip down skeletons. It's just a lot of fun to me. I really like it.
I agree. Oh, go ahead. I mean, do you want me to reset?
If you need to, yeah, that's okay.
Oh no. I mean, from here on out, we are 100% good to finish in the way that like we're going.
Okay, like I know Castlevania 2 okay enough. I just don't know enough. But he's like, oh crap, I need to reset. If that was like legitimate, okay, do you or no?
Oh no, we don't actually need to. That was being facetious.
Okay, I was like panicking. I was like, oh dude, okay.
I was like, I mean, unless you want me going for like, I mean, am I supposed to be going for world record attempts on this marathon? Like, how long is this marathon going?
Things you shouldn't say in a live marathon. This is one. Okay, I'll let you guys do your thing then.
Hilarious.
Oh man, so good. All right, so we just traded our white crystal for the blue crystal. We had to get on that Eisenberg, Breaking Bad style. and then we're going to use that because of the way that this game works. We're going to use it to essentially not change a lake at all, but be able to go into it anyways. It's the best description I can give. But
it's so weird.
I would agree with Two Snake. My favorite part of this is the overworld movement in between the mansions, because there's a bunch of like little things that we are always trying to do. Like we're trying to meet, we call them like certain dreams, like getting to this mansion that we're about to get to, which is Rover Mansion. Getting there before it changes back to night is we call it the Rover Dream. It's just basically showing like, hey, you're doing movement well. That won't be happening this run, but
the dream was kind of alive there for a second.
It was, and then I did this screen. But
so
I mean,
this is one of the more cryptic parts of the game, and I think where I got stuck a lot as a kid. You just put on the blue crystal and you go to this place that's seemingly a dead end and kneel for a long time. It's totally normal.
Man, had I not done that screen, it would have been close.
Yeah, so he's trying to get into this door before it turned night. That's the Rover Dream.
So the mansions are actually pretty simple on this any percent glitchless route. Just because you have the chain whip, in the first several mansions, everything is just one hit. And it's just, you just kind of mob through it. As long as you are jumping and whipping at the right time, I mean, you're pretty golden. Oh!
Oh! Spicy.
Real spicy.
Dodge that shit like the Matrix, son.
Dude, yeah, that's not happening again. So yeah, most of this run, when you are going for it, it's really contingent on your heart drop percent, or the heart drops that you get in the run, because you're trying to have certain amount of hearts at different points. Like, I've lost many runs to that oak steak seller right there for not having 50 hearts to buy the oak steak from him, and then having to, grind or something. And then there's getting enough hearts for the Morning Star itself, which is usually where a lot of the runs would die. Typically, the ones that get out of the Lizard Man hell. I think I got my for my first 100 attempts of this game, I think I had three runs that got past the Lizard Men. I won't even say that like 3 like decent runs, but it's just the Lizard Men are rough. But the good news is once you get the flow of that Lizard Man grind down, it kind of sticks with you like forever. The RNG obviously will determine whether or not you get to play the rest of the game, but at least it's you have it in muscle memory pretty easily because you do it so you do it so often.
It's crazy how many people come to my stream and I'm playing Castlevania 2 and they're like, "Hey, this looks like a lot of fun. I'll try it out." And then they'll go and they'll attempt the Lizard Man grind and they just stop. And they're like, "It looks so easy on stream." But
yes.
It's one of those things where you're kind of having to do some very precise movement back and forth. And if you don't do anything wrong, it does look easy. But what you don't see is under the hood there, the streamer is actually operating within like a 3-pixel window every time he goes to the left and every time he goes to the right. And if they mess up the 3 or 4 pixel window, then it's just off the rails and it gets to be bananas.
Yeah, and despite Dave wanting us to reset and show it off again, we played it well enough. Just the game was like no, and that just happens. So it's kind of a blessing and a curse in that the biggest like gate to completing a run is within the first minute. It's a blessing because you don't really have to worry about something like that late in the run, but it's also a curse because very few, like percentage-wise, not as many runs as you would like get past that first minute. And 13 is the minimum amount that you want to drop. I ideally, we talk about getting gravy. Oh, shit.
We're doing it live.
Yeah. Well, this is what happens when you derust a game 2 days before an event. But
That you signed up for in October.
yes. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. And I personally, I think it's a great speed game. It's got a lot of really cool tech to it. And I also feel like besides that beginning, it is it's really a forgiving game, because unlike the other NES Castlevania titles where you take you get towards the end of the game, you take 4 hits and you're dead. This one, you can, if you're having trouble, you can level up, or I mean, honestly, even not leveling up, other than Dracula himself killing you easily, you can take a lot of hits from mobs. And if you die, you start on the last square, or the last spot that you touched the ground, that you touched a solid surface.
Yeah, that's right. You don't go back to a checkpoint like you're used to from many NES games. You just pick up where you left off. The big penalty really is game overing. If you lose all of your lives, then when you game over, you lose all of your hearts and all of your experience. And like we talked about earlier, this is an adventure game, so you're constantly building up kind of your portfolio of resources to invest in various oak stake NFTs and whatnot throughout the game. So it's important that you maintain a good portfolio. But other than that, it's really forgiving when you die.
Yeah, and depending on how things go, we may even showcase what it's like to take an intentional game over. Because there is a spot specifically that a lot of times that in a lot of cases you take an intentional game over so you can control that you won't lose your hearts shortly thereafter. Because one thing that we don't pick up here at the beginning that's intended by the game designers to do is to grab the laurels. We're going to be running through some marshes with no way to keep our health up, and the laurels essentially make you invulnerable during those marshes. So
the marshes is when you're walking through them, they just do damage to you constantly. It's kind of like walking through lava.
Yeah, and I don't know there's a way to do it without taking damage, but it's really slow, and it's not. I mean, it's 100% if you know how to jump in a specific frame constantly, but unlikely.
Very boring. Very slow.
Yes. I always thought it was weird that some of these first mansions have all these pits and stuff that you can't see, that you can fall through and stuff, and then they stop doing that. It's weird how it's in the beginning ones, the easier ones, and then the harder ones don't have as much trickery.
That's something that really drove me crazy as a kid trying to play this game. Is you make one misstep and you fall through an invisible or it's a visible floor, but it's not really a floor, like a phantom floor. And so basically, it's bad design. It's bad game design, because what essentially happens is the people playing your game, they just walk around throwing holy water the entire time. Ooh, nicely done, Dan. That's a really tough trick there. He actually technically exploited a glitch there, but it's not banned by the categories, so we exploit that glitch there.
Yeah, we're gonna ideally exploit it a couple more times here in a second. Because remember how we were talking about the height situations? You can also gain 1 pixel of movement to the left or right. I missed it. Well, if it was there, I'd have gotten it.
Yeah, because Simon's moving at a constant speed, so if you go 1 pixel up, then it's going to take one. It's going to take. Simon moves at 1 pixel per frame. So the higher your jump is, the longer it actually takes him to finish his jump. So every time you do that, like Dan was just saying, you're actually getting more distance on the x-axis too. It's not faster, because you still are moving the same rate of speed, but it can help you make some difficult platforming a lot easier. And in some places, like the skeleton swamp earlier, lets you hit jumps that you wouldn't be able to hit otherwise.
Yeah, that you wouldn't be able to make. Well, that was cool.
Yeah. Oh, good.
So we're doing this, huh?
So here's our first swamp. So, you know, Dan, Dan, the city he was just in was the city we started in. So this adventure game kind of gives you two options. You can go left or you can go right. Left is intended to be harder. You're supposed to go to left, and then you just get immediately slapped in the face by two lizard men. And as a player, you're supposed to say, this is too tough, I'm going to go right. Of course, speedrunners, you know, it doesn't matter how much skill it takes to do something. We're thinking, okay, if it's actually faster if I do this, is it... the first question is this technically possible? If the answer is yes, someone's going to eventually do it.
And yeah, is it technically possible? And then is it faster than not doing it?
Right.
And I think what's pretty cool about this game, especially like, I mean, I wouldn't say that we like ideally showcased it here, but there's a lot of different ways to like theoretically route things based on your skill level. The Lizard Man grind is not the only way to do the beginning of this. And then the town grind, which I did shortly thereafter, is not the only way to do these to do this category. So it has a lot of different options based on the skill level of the player. The only problem is no matter what category that you're doing, you kind of commit to it, or not category, but like which way you're wanting to do it. So there are many people who go to the right of town. They grind a little bit there, and then they finish grinding in town and go forward from there. We just happen to do the Lizard Man grind because it's the fastest. We're gonna try a damage boost just because we're feeling spicy.
Yeah,
if we mess it up, we
YOLO this night.
If we mess it up, we're gonna die, and we did. Oh no, we didn't die.
Oh!
Oh man, we in there. Practically,
Simon actually has Simon's health value is represented as best as the game can in the health bar at the top, but it's not perfectly represented. There are values between, they're like non-integer values that we as the user or the player can't see. So sometimes when you have 6 bars of health, that knight will kill you if he pushes you into spikes. Sometimes he doesn't.
Yeah, and I think it depends on the, it doesn't depend on how much damage you technically took during the marsh. Is that how it is, since that does more of a straight damage, or is that just coincidence?
I don't know. We have Burb in chat, it looks like he would probably know.
Yeah, Burb is definitely the encyclopedia. If Sath is the Jehovah's Witness of Castlevania, Burb is definitely like the book of Burb.
So if you're an astute observer, you will notice that this is the first boss that we've seen so far. But as you can see, we don't have to fight him, so we're not gonna.
Yeah, he would take 32 whip hits for us to kill right now, and we ain't got time for that.
Nah. He drops a sub-weapon, and it's a very good sub-weapon, but it's not needed for the route.
Yes.
I think Burb has a theory task where it's actually faster to get that, but no one has really implemented that in real-time runs yet.
Yeah, and a lot of like beginner players of this run, myself included, when I first learned this run, you start by, oh you ass, you start by getting that because it just makes sense. Let's see, where are we at? Hey, it's like it's kind of sad. So for all the grinding that we did, we're on like a normal pace of like hearts.
Oh really? What was your heart at?
172.
Hilarious.
And that's just because
it was kind of weak there at first. There was no gravy.
Dude, it was the packet of McCormick. There was no water or nothing. You just had to take the gravy packet and just snort the powder. Oh. That's how this grind started.
Do you remember the cinnamon challenge? We'll get ready for the McCormick gravy powder challenge.
Dude, don't mention it, because now there's gonna be TikTok things of it all over the place. So now we're just kind of cruising out of here, and then we're gonna head to trade our blue crystal for a red one and get a morning star. And the most important thing when you're first learning this run is just getting your overworld movement to the point where you can make the day-night cycles for the morning star is like the biggest thing. It's pretty, there's quite a bit of time for it. So you don't even have to be like perfect on your overworld movement. You have a good amount of grace.
See, notice that Dan just went back and forth in the same place. He was actually able to get to the dungeon that he was just in. That was actually like a secret area, but it's the secret area that you have to go to, which is kind of obnoxious. But the item that you get from the first mansion that we went to, excuse me, is called Rover Mansion. We got Dracula's Heart. If you equip Dracula's Heart and talk to the ferryman, he'll bring you to the mansion that has the Grim Reaper boss in it.
Yeah. Oh, good.
But if you unequip that stuff and then talk to the ferryman, he'll bring you to this area. We haven't really talked about, like, how do you progress in this game. It's non-linear, which is much different than most Castlevanias, especially of the era. And what you're essentially trying to do as Simon is you're traveling around Eastern Europe or, you know, Romania or wherever you are.
I was like, Wallachia and something like that?
Maybe. I know that's the place in Castlevania 3. It might be the same place. I'm not exactly sure. But the point is that you're traveling around trying to gather all of Dracula's body parts so that you can destroy them. Because apparently at the end of Castlevania 1, when you kill Dracula, he, in his like death rattle, he put a curse on you. And if you don't destroy his body parts, then it'll kill you. And spoiler alert, when Simon goes to burn the body parts at the end, he actually finds that it resurrects Dracula. So it was all a trick anyway.
God, that trickster.
Yeah.
Silly Dracula. He's always tricking people. Alright, so now we have the Morning Star, which is the second best whip in the game. We will not have it for very long, though.
So I guess with that comes that you don't actually have to do the dungeons in order. You can do them in any order. Ish. Maybe actually no. You have to do Death's Mansion after you do Rover because Rover gives you the heart. But other than that, you can technically do the mansions in any order. But there is an order that's best for the speed run.
You know, just because we're doing this, we could be fine. But I just wanted to show it here. So you can take an intentional death here, and this will reset your hearts to 0. Because for me personally, when I first learned this run, I had trouble going from that spot right there to the next point that you need hearts without getting that heart grind. And it costs, but what, maybe like 5 to 7 seconds to do that?
Oh, I'm not sure exactly, but it's not very long.
Yeah. And usually a lot of times you're in that position because you already took 2 deaths. So taking the 3rd death is just falling off the thing, walking in the water and calling it good. But instead of like just secretly doing it and being like, we're doing this for manipulating RNG, but no, like, there's just so many things that make this run really more friendly than it is initially. Because I think a lot of people when they first look at this game are intimidated by it because of the experiences they had with it as a kid. So. Look, it's the dream. I have the skeleton on the screen.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like immersing myself in a game and playing it without any spoilers or any sort of like backseating or anything. But I would say that Castlevania 2 kind of differs. Like I feel like this is the type of game that you should play the first time, unless if you're looking for a very like masochistic sort of challenge that you could potentially spend hours and hours and hours and hours on and maybe still not even beat it, then go for it. But if you kind of just wanted to experience the game as it was meant to be played, but not have to beat your head against the wall and have to backtrack for all the time, I definitely recommend playing this game with a guide and then try to beat it again without the guide. I think this game really delivers on replayability because of its non-linear. Oh, almost. Oh,
dude, just as good. That might have been better. I didn't have the little window come up.
Yeah, that might have been better. Strong.
But also now they have a there's a new translation ROM that like has fixed all the cryptic stuff. We're gonna try to make this.
Yeah, is that called Redacted? Is that the name of that ROM?
I think so. This is gonna be close.
Oh, looks like Dave says it may be called Redux.
Oh,
Yes,
let's go.
Nice. Very nice.
So I was jumping up there to not take damage on that last bar so we could get through there.
That's what Dan was talking about earlier. You can just do a bunch of jumps like that through the swamp and take very little damage, but it is so boring and it takes so long. Okay, Dan's definitely gonna die here.
I was gonna say, I'm just gonna take this death.
Double night. One night is bad enough.
Yeah, I was like, I might have had a chance with one, but when the other came to play, it's like, okay, yeah, I guess I'll just die. It's not so much that stuff was lost in the translation, it's that the translation was kind of overly cryptic as well, and some words didn't translate directly well into English. Hey, I did
nice.
the 2 snake. Yeah.
Yeah, Graveyard Duck, exactly. And the randomizer, by the way, quick plug, there's a randomizer for this game that came out a couple of years ago, and I had the privilege and the opportunity to help test during the alpha and the beta of it. It is a lot of fun, and what Dave just said is a actual like thing that said that like the Graveyard Duck has something, and I don't know exactly the story behind the mistranslation or anything, but in the randomizer, there's an actual duck sprite there, and he is a cutie pie. If you've seen the anime and seen the Carmilla character, who I think starts appearing in season 2, this is Carmilla.
Get her on the way back. I didn't want to wait. Oh god, I hate you so much.
And I think these are supposed to be the Bloody Tears that the song is named after. Nicely done. So what she just dropped there is called the Magic Cross. So there are 7 required items in this game. There are the 5... They're called body parts, but one of them is Dracula's ring. Last I checked, I didn't have a ring as part of my body. So there's the ring, the eyeball, the
You start getting
heart,
that checked when you get older.
the rib, and the nail. And the nail's kind of weird. But you also need a red crystal, which Dan has gotten, which allows him passage to this side of the world. And lastly, you need the magic cross, which Carmilla drops. So this boss you actually do have to kill to beat the game.
I was ready for the
All right, let's see if we get the bone here.
Nah.
Okay, bad bone.
Yeah, it was nowhere close.
Sometimes the skeleton will have RNG such that he'll throw a bone at you and knock you off the stairs, which actually, like, saves you a ton of time. Not a ton of time, a few seconds.
Super boosts you to the left.
Yeah. Maybe like a second or two. You know, like an eternity in speedrunning terms.
Yeah. So we're actually reaching pretty close to the final stretch here. This run actually really isn't all that incredibly long. We're gonna hit up one more mansion, and then we're gonna head to the castle and throw the beat down on Dracula, and I don't know, talk about how we died or something like that in front of his grave, because this game actually has 3 different endings depending on how quickly that you dispatch of Dracula, but they coded it incorrectly. I can't remember which ones are which. Oh, crap. Whoa.
That worked out.
I didn't know how I was going to get not hit as I was falling through them, but it was cool.
I like that damage boost there, too. That was clean. Yeah, the next mansion we're coming into now is the 5th mansion we're going to visit. It's actually intended to be the 4th, but when we're playing glitchless, there's no reason to stop and do it then, especially when we can go get the flame weapon and do it when we have heavier firepower. But this mansion is actually quite long, but that assumes that you have to go find the vendor to buy an oak steak. But what Dan did is, before he left the last mansion called Laruba, is he bought us an extra oak steak. So that he can go straight to the orb, which is actually very quick to get to.
And these spikes on the ceiling, yeah, they don't do anything.
Yeah, decorative spikes.
They do kill you, but only because you hit your head on them and then fall into the water. Those jumps are, to me personally, are the ones that I'm like the most scared of. So I'm glad that I did one thing smooth.
This has been a pretty smooth run so far.
Yeah, other than the grind.
Yeah, which is expected, to be honest.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know. I'm trying to think. Like, the grind is actually harder in glitchless because in any percent there's this concept of a floor drop, and I won't get into the details of how exactly that's done, but essentially you can clip through floors and drop down very quickly. So you can use that at the very beginning to get to the lizards a few seconds faster. So you actually have much more time to grind in any percent than you do in any percent glitchless. I feel like I probably only get the lizard grind in glitchless maybe a quarter of the time.
Yeah, it's pretty rare, and even like we were saying about the gravy situation, when you start getting to the point where you are going for like top times or whatever, anything less than a little bit of gravy on there still doesn't feel good, because you're gonna, like, after that point where the runs usually choke you up is by not having enough for the morning star, because that's a lot of game to progress through before you get to the morning star, and you're just having to depend on RNG dropping the hearts as needed during that time, which is asking a lot.
Luckily for marathon's sake, we can offset that risk a little bit, but in PB attempts it can be brutal.
Yeah, so like
do that, you can get to Carmilla and she just sits there and gives you bad RNG and drops bloody tears the whole time. That also feels great.
Yes. So hypothetically, had we not done the extra grinding or whatever, and maybe we made it, but then we didn't have enough for the morning star, we can always spend more time in a mansion and grind hearts, because time does not pass in the mansions. It only passes when you are out on the overworld.
I really like the palettes in this game. Like, this orange and gray background just looks so good to me.
Yeah. Classic. So this is the last town, and we're not going to do anything here. We're just walking through.
I always imagined this town was colored this way because it's supposed to be, because it's so close to Dracula's castle. It's almost like he sucked the life out of it or something.
Yeah, I feel that too. It also gives just a destroyed and forgotten thing of it. I don't know. I kind of think of almost like something that is covered in ash.
Yeah. Nice, really clean graveyard by Dan there.
Now we'll see if we get the final trick, throwing a holy water. Man, Dave hating.
I know.
This is actually my favorite track in the game. I love it. It's so ominous for this ending, and especially you're walking through this castle that has literally nothing going on. There's no enemies. And you're just walking down to put Dracula's parts together. Dracula is actually the easiest part of this game. Or the easiest part of this run, rather. In other categories, he can be rather problematic.
Yeah, in 80%, I think you have to hit him with double frame perfect.
Yeah.
But
we got it, Burb. We did the jump off the stairs. Run validated.
Strong.
Hey, dude, we're gonna come in underestimate still. Yeah. So yeah, Dracula is really easy. You can actually start hitting him before he even appears. And time will be when the flames disappear.
Not those flames, these upcoming flames.
Yeah. Those ones.
Nice, GG, Dan.
Yep. Yeah, I put the estimate at 45, assuming that I wouldn't get the RNG. That came out pretty good. That was good.
Absolutely. Good run. Very clean. Very clean. You know it's clean because when you game overed in Ondel after the Morningstar, you had to do it twice. You had to die twice.
Yeah. And usually it's like, oh yeah, it's only the once. I think that probably had something to do with the well, no, because we got that level up earlier, so we would have been even less health going in. I don't know. But I really appreciate the opportunity to do this for you, Dave, and thank you so much for having both myself and Two Snake. It's an honor to help out in whatever way that that we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for letting me invite myself to do this.
Yeah.
No problem. It's like, sure, you can just come, it's okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, Two Snake, like, so you had reached out to me on Twitter and said like, hey, the event's coming up, can you pop in or whatever? And I was like, yeah, sure. And I was like, oh shit, I gotta run in this event. And then Two Snake the next day is like, hey, I saw you on the schedule. Do you want to do like a co-commentary? I was like, that sounds awesome. I was like, now all I got to do is de-rest the game.
Well, you did good, all things considered, so.
Yeah, worked out good.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Thanks for having me.
You
Yeah,
guys
thank you.
are welcome.